Hi, my name is Janet Ambrosio. I'm a social work student here at Florida Atlantic University. This is my professional skills presentation. We're going to begin with my client's biopsychosocial assessment. My client is Latwanda Brown. She's a 38-year-old African American female. She is seeking treatment because she was assaulted by her former partner in front of her fraternal twins, Jayla and Jamal. She is presenting fear for her safety and the safety of her children. She is also experiencing a lot of anxiety. She is stressed and overwhelmed due to her former partner's child being in 2 weeks. Some background information on Miss Brown. She was born and raised here in Broward County in a low-income household. She has a lot of childhood trauma. She was physically abused by her parents. She was sexually abused by the pastor at the church that she attended as a child. Due to all this trauma, she does not have the best relationship with her parents, and she does not believe or have faith in the church, any church. She dropped out of high school when she was in the 10th grade, started working with her former partner, and later resulted in being pregnant with her oldest child, Jada, that is 21. She also states that she uses unprescribed medication for her anxiety. She smokes marijuana daily, and occasionally she drinks alcohol. She also states that she has not had any physical or medical care for a very long time. Prior to this incident, she has never sought any type of therapy or counseling. This is her first time reaching out for help. Some of the strengths, moving on to her strengths and her social support. Her support is her twin sister, Latwanda, and her best friend, Courtney. She has had other support with other family, but her primary is her twin sister and her best friend. Her strengths, she shows resilience. After everything that she has gone through, she still shows up for herself, for her children, and she is also very self-aware, which is another strength. She knows what she's gone through. She knows her feelings as well. By being resilient and self-aware, she has motivation to become better, motivation to be better for her and her children. The goals that she has is to continue therapy as well as have a stable home life for herself and her children. Not just that, but have a secure employment so she can be independent and she can have peace within herself and her children. She is also willing to have and use the resources provided for her to be able to have independency and have a safe home environment for herself and her kids. Moving forward, we are going to start with our interview skills. My first one is emphasizing client strengths. Emphasizing client strengths by behaviors, accomplishments, personal qualities, and characteristics. During my client interview, I use encouraging words to make sure my client feels confidence for herself and her children. As we're going to see here in this clip of the interview, she lets me know what she is feeling, and I let her know the strengths that she presented because she walked into the agency. So here we're gonna see that clip. You're feeling?
I'm feeling sad because I've been with this man since I was in high school, you know what I mean? He's my first love, he's the father of my kids, and I don't really know what I'm going to do without him because he was support for us financially. And I also feel like guilt because that's my kid's father, and now they're not going to have a dad.
No, you shouldn't be feeling any type of guiltiness. You did the best for you and your kids. You decided to put your kids first and their safety first and your safety as well. So that's I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
So here I'm making sure that my client sees herself as capable. And one thing I know that I shouldn't have said is telling her not to feel guilty. We shouldn't not acknowledging that she's feeling guilty. She has every right to feel all her feelings, and making sure as the social worker we acknowledge all of her feelings. So I'm using empowerment and making sure that my client sees her strength, that she did make sure she reached out for help, and that she's gonna be able to do this, and with the help that we're gonna provide to her, that she will be able to have that stable home life with her and her kids. So going on, our second interview skill was attending skills, is focusing on the client's thoughts and feelings, but also in the use of body language, our tone of voice, as well as understanding the client verbally and non-verbally. So here I focus on my client by listening to her and making eye contact with her. When she walks in, I ask, what is she here for? And as she's letting me know, I make sure I give her my undivided attention, and I make sure that she is speaking, and I'm listening to everything she has to say. And that's what we're gonna watch here in this clip.
What brings you in today? Well, I was recently in a domestic abuse case with my baby daddy, and he took things too far this time in front of my kids. And this has happened before in the past, like many times, but this time I actually took action and decided to leave him for the safety of me and my kids, and it's been really hard for me.
So as you can see, I make sure that I'm focused on my client. I'm making eye contact with her, and my body language is like fully towards her. I'm nodding. I'm making sure that she is aware that I am acknowledging everything she's telling me, and I'm listening to everything she's telling me. Even though I'm not saying anything, letting her speak, giving her that space to make her, trust me, and let her know that she can tell me what she's going through, and what has brought her in. And our third interview skill here is paraphrasing and reflection. Paraphrasing and reflection of feelings is a communication skill that we as social workers use. These skills are restating the feeling and emotion that the client states. I paraphrase what my client is telling me, and while doing so, I'm also reflecting the feelings she is feeling. So here in this clip, we're going to see her telling me what is she feeling, and I'm going to paraphrase her feelings, but as well acknowledging those feelings.
So that's the problem. Like, I work when I can find somebody to watch them. I can't afford daycare right now. My mom, she don't want to watch them all the time. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she thinks she's too bougie for us or something. And then my sister, she has her own kids, so they all help out when they can.
So I'm understanding that you are feeling stressed and a little overwhelmed with how you're gonna continue on.
Yeah, how am I supposed to watch them and find a job? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. So here, she tells me that she doesn't know what she's gonna do. She hasn't worked in a while, and she doesn't know, like, financially where she's gonna be or where she stands. So I acknowledge her feelings. I paraphrase what she's feeling, and I make sure to identify those emotions and what the client is expressing. So we're going to continue, and we are going to look at our eco map. And next we're going to look also at the genogram. Throughout our eco map and our genogram, I am going to be providing information to my client. That is my fourth interview skill. As a social worker, we use an eco map to create a visual representation of the client's relationship. So here in this clip, I am going to let my client know what our eco map is and how to read our eco map.
Brown, how are you?
All right.
Okay, from our last session that we had, I had mentioned that we were going to create an eco map. And it shows us who are your strongest relationships, and who's your partner for you, and who's going to be there through this entire process you're going through. So as we see the darker spots, Courtney, your best friend, and your twin sister, LaShonda, those are your strongest connections. They're going to be in your corner all the time. Here we see that you have a relationship with your mom, but it's a little hostile.
Yeah, she can just be a lie.
And then
here. So here, I am explaining to her in like simpler terms that the darker line is that very strong connection she has, and as well as with her mom, that hostile connection she has with her mom. And here as well we can see the key is in the bottom, which lets our client know what is all the lines mean, what does the arrows mean and stuff, because we as social workers know what it means. We've done it, we've created to them, but now explaining it to them in simpler terms is what we're doing here. And we're going to continue, and we're going to move on to our genogram. So again, our genogram, we're using our scale of providing information. A genogram is another tool that as a social worker we use to help the client out. It visualizes the structure of the client's family, but more in detail. A family tree, but a more detailed family tree. So that's what we're going to watch here in the next clip of letting Ms. Brown know what the genogram is and why certain things are repetitive, or why what has gone on. What is going on? Sorry.
So our genogram, basically, I've gathered since we've begun our sessions, what has happened throughout your life and what has brought you to this point, and why, So this is you. This is you, and you had mentioned you use certain prescribed drugs and that you as well as you are a smoker. But as well, your mother and your father were too. So, we can see that.
So here, as you seen that I highlighted as I was talking in the clip, here I was telling her, since she does use unprescribed medication for her anxiety, it's, a certain drug, she uses that, and then she is a smoker, but at the same time, she saw that from her parents. We can see it here as well, her mom and her dad, and then her aunt, her mom's sister, was also a smoker, and her twin sister's a smoker, and stuff like that. So our genogram, we're using it, we create it, and then we talk to it with our client, making sure they know what is going on, and what they see and stuff. And that's why we also create a key, so they can know what everything means. We can know what it means, but not explaining it in simpler terms to our client. As we're going to move forward, we are going to talk about Ms. Brown's treatment plan. A treatment plan is a document to help the client and the social worker identify the problem and to provide goals. So here we are watching, we're seeing, and we can read Ms. Brown's what is going on and what the problem was. And she was assaulted by her former partner, and she is in fear of her for her safety and the safety of her kids. She's feeling anxious and stuff. That's what it's telling us in this box. And in this box here, it's letting us know she is a single mother of 3 children, her oldest being 21 and her twins being 5. She is and she has a very strong relationship with her twin sister, but again, she doesn't have that relationship with her parents. And of course, Ms. Brown is fearing, is very anxious, fears for her safety, and is in emotional distress. So that's what it's telling us here. And then here we look at what our long-term goal is for her. And she wants to establish a safe and stable environment for herself and her children. And she is willing, also to develop strategies for her anxiety and the trauma that she has faced, but as well achieve emotional stability. If we look at our objectives, Ms. Brown will attend and continue counseling sessions to learn how to cope and process the trauma. So that's what it's telling us here. And we can see what our objectives are. And then, who's going to give that to her? Who's going to provide? So we're going to provide Ms. Brown with trauma informed therapy. And the person responsible for that is myself. That's what I'm going to be doing for her. Here, another, I will coordinate with social services for a safety plan and recommend references. And LaTwanda Brown and myself, we are going to be in charge of that. So that is what our treatment plan tells us, and just to help our client make sure so they understand this is the problem, this is what we want to do, and take those baby steps to eventually have that long-term goal that we can create here. So, continuing on with our questions, the strengths during the interview. During my interview with my client, I made sure she felt safe and understood. I showed empathy towards her and what she has gone through. I also showed her clear communication through what she told me. As well, during the Geno and Eco map, I used simple terms to help her her explanation. I used a calm voice when speaking to my client. So as I was speaking to my client, I wasn't aggressive. I made sure she felt comfortable so she can open up, and made sure I listened. And and stuff like that. And things that, going on to my next slide, things that I can improve on, and my style of the interview and my own self reflection. During this interview, I found that there are some things I can improve in how I displayed myself during the presentation. In the beginning, I was nervous and I wasn't comfortable. I did learn that I gave my full attention and focus to my client. As we're growing to become social workers, everyone is different with their interviews. And I think that for myself, I am very nervous. And when I get nervous, I stumble with my words, and I forget what I need to say. So just making sure that I have those, one of the that I will be talking about is like my learning needs of like having better questions, being better, more prepared, and improvements of making sure that I'm not just looking for that solution for my client. I'm making sure that my client is heard, and I'm validating and acknowledging all of her feelings. When I did the beginning clip that I showed, and she told me that she was feeling guilty, I shouldn't have said, don't feel guilty, because I'm telling her not to feel something, but she's allowed to feel all of her feelings after what she has gone through. So, things like that I can definitely improve in, and eventually find what works best for me during my interviews. My feelings and ongoing learning needs. During my interview, like I mentioned before, I was nervous, but I was proud of my client for coming to the agency. Some learning needs that I would like to describe are being prepared more and how to ask better questions, and my ability to paraphrase and not reiterate my words. Like stated before, just being more prepared with open-ended questions, and making sure, that I give one question at a time, and not constantly asking her question after question after question, and not being able for her to answer. Giving that question and pausing and letting her answer so she can let me know what she's feeling or what are her thoughts, and of the question that I have asked, and just being able to better paraphrase what she's telling me, and acknowledging those feelings and reflecting back those feelings to her. Like, okay, if this is how you're feeling, these are your emotions, letting her, letting the client know that and stuff. And I think overall, during this interview, I learned that I get nervous and I stumble on my words, and I need to be comfortable with myself. And I think that all comes before anything else, just being able to be comfortable and being able to understand what I want to ask and what I want from the client, and what I want, for both me and the client. So my growth and conclusion overall after this interview, I learned so many new things to help me as a social worker. Creating a biopsychospiritual assessment, the eco map and genome map are some tools that I have gained knowledge of how to put together, as well as the skills to use during an interview. I think overall this semester I learned a lot of things, and I learned what a biopsychospiritual is, what an eco map is, what a genome map is, and the treatment plan, and how we can move forward from just in general, making sure that your client is comfortable and that you're comfortable with your client, but at the same time making sure that you're able to acknowledge everything your client is feeling and stuff. And I think in the future, in future interviews that I can hopefully have, I can use these skills that I've learned throughout the semester, and not just the ones I have mentioned here, but just being able to have more um, empathy towards my clients, and making sure that, and having those like with the documents, like knowing how to create the eco and genome map and the treatment plans, like I have said, but also being able to know how to write them, because that is important for yourself, but also for the client, and making sure they know and are being explained what is on that paper, and then as well as having those professional boundaries with your client and yourself, and just pulling all together the summarization of key points that the client can give you, and making sure that what they're telling you are also acknowledging, and not just for them, but for yourself, because you're going to be working with that client. So overall, this semester, I'm grateful to being able to learn all of these skills, and different assessments that I'm going to have to write in the future as a social worker, and being able to have the opportunity to interview a client. So thank you very much.